Hello there,
Hello,
folks. Welcome back to ESA Winter 21. We are raising money for Alzheimer Fund, and links to donate can be found below the stream. We'd also like to thank Koi Tecmo Europe for Noi 2 The Complete Edition, Twitch, and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it is time for the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening 2019 race between Strackel and Miniretin. Please take it away.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Strackel and Miniretin will be racing in Link's Awakening remake that was released in 2019. I am Samurai Man. I'll be commentating for these fine gentlemen from French. And when everyone is ready, we will start the countdown.
I'm gonna start the game.
I'm ready.
Runners will start from their files that have already set up an RNG manipulation, which I will try to explain throughout this run. And
I'm ready.
Runners are ready. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, both of you.
Thanks.
Good luck, bro.
So at the start of the game, we're stuck in an island, or rather, Link gets flushed to the island, and later on we will find out why we are in the island. But anyway, at the start of the game, we need to find some items to get to the first dungeon of the game. And one of those items that is required right at the start we have to get is a sword. Sword actually unlocks a lot of the progression for this game, such as not being able to enter any dungeons. And the game as a remake is quite colorful. Looks nice. And it's very faithful to its original, actually. There are like almost no changes from the original, which is very amazing for the game developers, keeping it very faithful to its original. There's the owl. The owl is gonna be the guide for Link during this adventure on an island called Koholint Island, actually. After the runners get the sword, we will go to the forest. I forgot its name, actually. But the forest will have some stuff we need to collect, such as the first dungeon key that unlocks the dungeon. You probably noticed the runners are playing on a not French version, but the German version instead. Why is that? That is because the text is actually faster. There are less text boxes in a German text with the German text compared with other text differences, such as Japanese version actually has a way more text boxes compared to English text, which is quite surprising, as we know that Japanese versions tends to have the faster text compared to the English text, because less characters, but that's mostly for the older games. But for Link's Awakening, German text is the fastest. Now we are in a... What is this forest name? I forgot, but Zauberwald, I think it was in German. That's important for us. Runners have to go through this cave to get a mushroom, so they can change that mushroom with a witch for a powder. In the original version, it is actually possible to get the powder without using this mushroom and trade it with witch in a minigame. But in this version, they changed that it's unlocked by giving the mushroom to the witch. Then you can go and get that in a minigame if you so like it. So that's one of the changes they did from the original version. Right now it's gonna be mostly runners just walking normally through these couple of locations, but when we get to the third dungeon of the game, there will be a boots that will make the run look a little bit faster, because they can actually run around instead of walking around. Some of the optimizations they want to have at the start of the game is try to avoid using shield, because the shield is gonna slow down their movement. And try to avoid slashes as well, because that also slows down movement. After all, we want to go fast, right? So here we are, which is gonna be happy we got the mushroom for the witch, and gonna change it to the powder. With the powder we can actually change one of the NPCs that was turned to the raccoon So they're gonna turn back to the human person, and then their runners can get the first dungeon key called Tele key. If you didn't know the keys in this game to enter the dungeons, they actually represent the dungeon boss. For example, Tele key represents why did I forget the name? Moldorm. Moldorm was the boss fight in the first dungeon. Tele key represents Moldorm. Then the Wish key represents the Wish boss fight in a dungeon 4, for example. What is also funny is about this NPC, the location for the NPC where it stops depends on where Link is actually using the powder, because it bounces randomly to the different directions. And there is the Tele key. The owl is gonna give us some more instructions where to go with it. And wants to tell us that we have to wake up the windfish. It was a very surprising game when it was announced back in 2019, I think it was. And it was released on the same year. You may be wondering, are there like any of the original version glitches in this game? Well, first of all, the doghouse glitch that was quite known for the original version, that doesn't exist anymore at this version, so no more out-of-bounds glitches like very weird looking graphics and stuff like in original version. But instead, in the remake version, there are a lot of amazing stuff that are not in the original version, actually. So you are in a great treat to see some amazing glitches in this game, and skips too. And this is the first dungeon of the game. I think it was called Tele Cave. The first dungeon of the game is most likely one of the most boring ones, because it doesn't introduce any of the skips or glitches of the game. Meanwhile, other dungeons do have at least 1 or 2 glitches to show, and skips too. Some optimizations you probably solve there by using the slash the blade, so they can get damaged, more of like a boost to the door. Saving those frames, like we say. Want to get those spiny enemies as close as possible, so they can use the powder, just a single powder, to kill both of them.
Omega.
Oh, that is actually quite interesting. So what happened to Strackel, he actually got the Guardian Acorn that can be gotten after killing certain amount of enemies, which I forgot the amount, but after killing certain amount of enemies without taking a hit, you are gonna be rewarded with a Guardian Acorn, so your damage is halved. How fitting that you are getting rewarded for not taking damage by giving an upgrade for just a few seconds, and that it only halves your damage after not taking damage for 20 enemies or so. One thing runners you will see doing a lot of this run is a save and quit. It actually is in this game that the game autosaves each time they pick a key item, they pick a small key, or make a small adjustment, or more of like a permanent change in a game. So the game autosaves, and what they do is just open the menu and select the auto load, because the auto load is the latest autosave they had, and runners will probably not gonna manually save, but there are a couple of spots they might be wanting to consider do the manual saving, just to be sure something doesn't go wrong, because there are a couple of glitches that are not possible to do after you don't get them once. But we will talk about them later when we get to those points. Miniretin and Strackel entering the first mini-boss, whose name I forgot, but I think it was Rolling Bones actually. Fitting name for having the spiny ball thing there. That's why it's called Rolling Bones, I guess. And the dungeon boss, Moldorm, or some people call it Burgor.
I prefer to call it Trolldorm.
That too. Because sometimes Moldorm is a quite a troublesome, because the RNG, the luck element is in this fight. With the two quick spins, or should I say charged spin slashes, they can kill Moldorm, and they succeed on it very well.
Yeah, Moldorm can be really dangerous at the start because he's doing unhurt of the mage. And if you fall in the hole that are in the corner of the room, you didn't get to the mage, but you fall down to another room, so you have to climb up back to the boss.
And that will mean you start over the whole fight as well.
So here we go. We're gonna reach the first glitch of the game.
Yeah, that is right. After the first dungeon, you're gonna see the first glitch of the game, entering dungeon too early. This game got quite a many route changes throughout the first months of the game release. Especially the first month was very crazy for this game, because in the first week, people were able to find a way to skip the trading sequence items. So you don't have to get the Yoshi plushie anymore. Trade it the banana all the way to the stick, and eventually you will get a what was its name? But you need that certain item to check the maze code to beat the game. Also, they just picked up the chicken. I mean, it's completely normal because, you know, they need it for this next skip. This next glitch is called like launch. When they're in this specific spot nearby the Strackel, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's because I missed something and I hit the cuckoo with a sword, and the hitbox of the cuckoo change and make you fail the glitch.
So that's what happened, is the like launch by using the chicken, and the chicken helps the runners to actually launch Link on the tree where you're not supposed to stand on, and by doing that, they can walk all the way to Dungeon 2 without saving Bow Wow, the chain jump that was kidnapped in a village by some moblins. So Dungeon 2 actually has one of the skips I believe both runners will go for, at least attempt it, because it saves a good amount of time if you're able to get it. But from my understanding and from what I remember, chances of that happening are quite slim, so don't be too surprised if both of the runners don't actually get that. The route won't change just a tiny bit if one of them gets it, or both of them gets it, or they don't get it at all. Miniretin will be attempting for it, and you're gonna see it in his screen quite soon. It will happen in a mini-boss room with Hinox. What I will say is that I will let you watch what happens, and see the magic if it happens. Oh, that was unfortunate. Let's let's see, is Strackel able to get it? Okay, Strackel actually doesn't want to go for it. So what Miniretin wanted to attempt there is the Hinox yeet or throw or whatever its name is nowadays, I don't even know. But anyway, when Hinox grabs Link, when Link falls to the pit, and on the same frame when Hinox grabs, Hinox can throw Link all the way to the instrument room, but there's a 33% chance of that happening because Hinox will throw Link to 3 different directions, and only one of those three different directions only one work. To put it simply this way, there's 3 different directions Hinox throws to, and only one of those throw angles works. So Strackel is now done with the dungeon 2 for now, but he'll come back later, because what he wants to do now is actually faster, that he will come back later. That was unfortunate for Miniretin. It was one of those rough angles he hoped to not get, but he can attempt it again and see if he gets lucky.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try like last time, and if it don't work, I will stop to try it because it's gonna be a big lose of time.
Yeah, and after all, it's also really, really risky, but brave to go for in a marathon setting. And after all, you have a good amount of time spare for this run. Strackel just stole a shovel and is getting killed for it. It's a little nice Easter egg that they left to the game from the original. Unfortunate for Miniretin getting the same throw angle again. So at this point I believe you are gonna go and kill the Hinox and do the same route Strackel is doing. So Strackel just stole the shovel and a bow, and now he's gonna go attempt another glitch. Let's see how this goes.
I'm gonna try last time. Hope
Alright.
for a good angle.
I
To put it
know.
simply-
I know why you don't succeed it. It's because the chat don't bless you enough. You need
Okay.
more bless RNG.
Okay,
I
he
think, for
didn't
you.
want to. That's really unlucky.
Can we have some bless RNG for me, please?
No, it's okay. I'm not gonna try anymore. I didn't gonna take the same route as Strackel. Like, I'm gonna finish the dungeon right now. And don't do the Jenny skip.
Yeah, so what it is just said, he will finish the dungeon. Strackel won't finish the dungeon right now because there is a way to skip Genie fight. And that's also quite difficult, and it's at the end of the run as well for Strackel. But what Strackel just did there was to skip the Canalet Castle. He didn't get the 5 golden leaves and used that
Okay, we got it.
pincer. He used the pincer to get on the... Oh, Miniretin got it.
I have
Very
done it
awesome.
like by muscular memory, actually.
Nice, bro. Nice, bro.
And after all, you say that I'm not gonna go for it anymore. Yet you still went for it and you got it finally. Maybe it will end up being worth it in a long run. We'll see that. So what Strackel just did there was to do the 5 golden leaf skip, not going to the Canalet Castle, getting the slimy key, and entering dungeon 3 much earlier than you're supposed to. At this point you should have had the stick as a trading quest item, but runners don't have any of those trading quest items because they will skip that obviously. It's fast. That's right.
So what happened with this is I skipped the boss of the dungeon, but I still have to take the power bracelet to get out of the dungeon, so we still need to re-enter in it.
It will be very amazing if there was a way to get the bracelet and the instrument at the same time in the Hinox throw, but as far as I know, there is no way to get that, so Miniretin has to do the keep to the dungeon twice. First getting the instrument, then getting the power bracelet and leaving, and that's the dungeon 2 then. Then moving back to Strackel, he opened the door, he opened the vault, the boss key room, and he's actually gonna attempt is a time. Both runners are actually gonna attempt one of the new skips of this game in a dungeon 3 called the Donga skip. That is quite amazing actually. How it actually just works. They're standing on a fence now, and Strackel just was able to skip the Donga boss mini bosses and get the boots much faster. Pegasus boots. After getting the boss key, Strackel is gonna do the Donga skip again, but this time he will skip all of the keys. Or do you have one key at least? I believe you need to use one key.
Yeah, it's because I don't do the bomb jump, so I need one more key to go to the final boss.
That's right. This is quite a new glitch as well. I think it's about a month old by now.
Oh, shit.
And it's pretty amazing. Using a bomb to just fly around on a wall, then eventually landing on a fence.
So here I'm gonna do the turn, and maybe Mini is gonna do the bomb jump. That's why I need one more key to open here. And I'm fine.
gonna try to doing the bomb jump. Hope I will get it. It's a really precise jump, and the timing is hard to get. Because like you need to charge the boots at some frame. There are a really little window to getting it, and you like there are another bomb jump we're gonna do in the dungeon 4 later in the run. But for this one we used I used a setup that Samu had found with sword slashes. That's helped a lot, and on the one in dungeon 3 we didn't get sword slashes. We need to do it without it, so it's harder. The one in dungeon 3 is really harder to get.
And I choose to don't do the bomb jump because I don't lose a lot of time not doing it, and because I do the Jenny skip, I don't have a right to buy the bombs on the shop, and my count bomb is really tight, as you can see. I have only one bomb left, and I lose no one, not a single one. So if I lose the bomb jump, I lose a bomb, 2 hurts, and it's really hard to try again. So because of my routing for the race, I choose to play a bit more safely and not do that.
Yeah, because like how the game is designed is you can buy bombs until you finish the dungeon 2, and for me I finished it because I get the instrument of the dungeon 2, but Strackel didn't.
Fortunately, there are bombs in dungeon 3 and they can go pick them up, and at the start of the dungeon as well there's 4 of them in the pots. Strackel goes back and gets some extra bombs. I believe it's still in a part of the route is to get the 300 rupee chest. That is in one of these rooms that Strackel goes through. Need to kill all the enemies in the same room.
Maybe we can get through some donation.
That is a good moment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, well, I would just like to remind everyone that you are watching ESA Winter 2021, raising money for Alzheimer's Fonden, who are a Swedish national fundraising organisation focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. Remember, all of your donations go directly towards Alzheimer's Fonden, and it's an amazing cause, so please get those donations in. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much indeed.
Strackel just opened the portal to the Shisha mansion, which will be used later to get to the other dungeons. Right now he needs the Ocarina. Ocarina is one of the mandatory items to beat the game. So we are gonna go to the dreaming in a dream. That's how it goes. We dream in a dream.
Can I interject very quickly? Just to let you know that we do have, running in chat at the moment, a prediction between who is going to win the race. Miniretin against Strackel. So you can use your channel points to work out or put towards whoever you think is going to win. And we'll give you the results of that decision later on. Thank you very much.
No pressure, both of you. No pressure now.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Okay,
Something
so
I really
I'm gonna attempt to the bomb jump here.
Something I
really
like about this
precise.
game is that you don't skip the songs, even in speedrun, and it's really cool.
That's right. Still need all 3 songs. Unlike in the original, where you can use the bomb and go through the transition and just use the ocarina as a bomb, bomb as an ocarina, is what I meant to say. So Miniretin will attempt that bomb jump, a little bit different method. Strackel just did. I wanna see this.
Okay, I jump a little bit too early. I'm gonna retry it one time. Have to get some hurt because I will die because the bomb do 2 damage.
And here we go again with Kuko.
That's right. Kuko again. I wonder what's coming up next. It's pretty funny to
Okay, I get it.
Nice.
That actually helps for the runners. Oh, that's awesome, Miniretin. Congrats. Getting it. That skips at 1 small key. Huge time save.
We also choose to show you 2 different routes, and a lot of tricks that we are going to do are different. So you can see a lot of different things about the speedrun of this game and how different routes can be competitive in a race. And it's something really cool, I think. You can choose your route and still be competitive.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome for a game like this, where they're very similar, just a couple of things are different. So, but for Strackel just needs this chicken. Well, fortunately for Strackel right now, what he wants is there is this like in this one area of this part of the map, and he needs to get the like follow him all the way to the angler key spot. And it's gonna be fun. I'm telling you that it's gonna be fun to see what's gonna happen.
Actually, the skip we was doing it with the fox, but each time you missed it, you lose like 2 min because you have to bring back the fox to the dungeon 4, to the entrance of the dungeon 4. So we have decided to doing it with the Kuko in purpose of the marathon, because it's more safely, like if we missed it, we can try it again without losing 2 min each time.
Oh my god.
Well, that is unfortunate for Strackel.
I'm a bit unlucky and I got a piece of power, and I forget that with a piece of power you do twice the damage, and I just killed the like. Unfortunately, I forget that. I'm a lot of bad luck right now, but
Let me
Yeah,
know
so-
when you've got time for a donation, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, there is that time.
Okay, well, we have received $25 from Tristan Wolf, who says, really enjoying what I've seen of the marathon so far, and looking forward to seeing a lot more. For the incentives, why not put this one towards the winner's choice? So thank you very much indeed for that generous donation.
And now part of the setup is now using the like to launch on the angler key location, and then you can enter the dungeon. That's a little bit unlucky, and you have to now has to wait to get the chicken back, and also like has to move back to fight scene. This is a very difficult trick to do with the fox, because you have to have that specific timing. You need to dive for it with the potion. The potion will revive you being on an angler key. Then you will just enter the dungeon. And that was very well done by Strackel. Second try. First try in our hearts. Dungeon 4 is a very nice dungeon actually, because there is a way to do a double key skip after getting the first key. You won't need to use 3 keys to get to the next part of the dungeon, but there's a way to skip that. Skip 2 of them. At least, actually you need 2 keys, because the 1 key will be used to the mini-boss. The game also auto-saves there, so Strackel can try again if he happens to fail it a couple times. The bomb does 2 hearts damage in this game, compared to other Zelda games where it does a lot less. Very nicely done by Strackel. That's the damage boost with the bomb he just did there, and skipped 2 dungeon small keys. The mini-boss of the dungeon, Pupil. There are a couple of ways to beat it, with just the spin slashes or with the bow as well. That was very nice fight from Strackel by using the bow. Now it's Miniretin's turn to do the like launch. Maybe he will catch up for Strackel and make the race closer. But keep in mind, he has done Dungeon 2.
Don't forget, I have one more glitch to do that many don't need to do, and I'm gonna lose 1.5 minutes at the end of the run.
Yeah, there is that chance too. You don't have that many chances for a genie skip.
And enjoy the song. The best song of the game, I think.
And the second song right now, so we can actually warp around in this game.
We do have another donation for you.
Yes.
Okay. We have Mod366 donating $5, saying, predictions for the winner using channel points. That's cute. I'll predict with a donation. Having heard his name several times during our fantastic pre-show, I've got to go with Miniretin. I know you're behind, but you can do it. And on that point, chat have made their decision and they're backing Strackel. So Miniretin, go for it. We're all behind you.
Oh my god, I'm done now.
And yeah, I was allowed to run that Pengy down on Skies of Arcadia Hundo as a pre-show, because I have run running Skies of Arcadia a lot too, and it was really great to watch and entertaining. If you have missed it, go check it out, and go check Pengy too.
You are too gentle. You don't run the game. You have actually the world record in the category that was run yesterday. This man is too strong.
It's actually good to mention that Miniretin actually got the second fastest time just 2 days ago with one time of 1 hour 7 minutes and 39 seconds, which is very impressive. Meanwhile, Strackel has 4th best time in a leaderboard with 1 hour 8 minutes and 52 seconds. Quite impressive by these two gentlemen. One thing I forgot to mention, or that they added to this remake version, are more warp portals. Because in the original there was only like 4 or 5 of them, but this game has a lot more. I think it's 8 of them in this game. Strackel is in a dungeon 5, Miniretin is dungeon 4 right now. Dungeon 5 is a little bit interesting dungeon because you have to backtrack a couple of times in this dungeon because of the Master Stalfos that steals the dungeon item Hookshot. Let's see how Miniretin gets the double key skip. This setup is necessary for the bomb placement, so they can do the damage boost correctly. Otherwise, you don't get damage boost to the right direction. Master Stalfos has to be fight 4 times in order to get his item, the Hookshot. And what's also interesting about Master Stalfos, in this game there's a time-based dungeon, so you can make dungeons with certain rooms and so on, and there's this one layout where you don't have a sword at all, and you cannot use Master Stalfos styles at all, because you actually need a sword to stun Master Stalfos. Which is an interesting thing that this game has actually, that you aren't required to use the sword for this mini-boss. But bombs are the only way that you can damage him, and then he gets killed. Miniretin getting his mambo so he can warp around. It's the second time to beat Stalfos. One more, then after the 4th one, he'll get the hookshot. And there's a nice little surprise with the hookshot actually the runners are gonna go for. I won't spoil it, it's actually very impressive and fun. It's very nice that every dungeon has this own theme. For example, Water Dungeon is more of like a Dungeon 4. Dungeon 5 is like a Water Dungeon 2, but it feels like more of a cave than a Water Dungeon. There you just see Strackel saving, because there is actually a glitch coming up that is one attempt to try, because after they kill Master Stalfos, the game autosaves and they cannot attempt it again if they fail it. And it actually is faster to attempt that again than continue normally and beat the dungeon. Because the slime eel, the boss fight of this dungeon, is actually quite luck based of the locations it can show up or quick point. You're gonna see the magic happen very soon when Strackel kills Master Stalfos. Let's see what happens. And that is exactly what happened. It just got launched up on the wall in a Dungeon 5 and gets the instrument by not fighting the slime eel. That is quite something, isn't it? That is called Rocket Link. You get launched to the wall by using the bomb right underneath the hookshot. And when grabbing the hookshot, grabbing the bomb in a certain spot when the hookshot lands on Link's head and hold right, you get launched on a wall. It's pretty nice when it happens. And that is what I meant by having only one attempt. The game autosaves immediately. Then to try that again, they would have to reload the save file, which in this game case has to be the manually saved file because the autosave file is gone at this point. It saves a good couple of minutes. They have to get the hookshot though, so they can actually beat the game, but it's a time save still, and it gives us a really nice glitch. One of my favorites.
Yeah, and it also avoids one of the most RNG-based boss in this game. And
That's
actually,
true.
like, getting it on the second try is still faster to doing the dungeon as we should.
Isn't it like the same speed if you beat the dungeon normally if you were to get it third try? I believe it is. But he got it first try. He saved a good amount of time. That's what matters. Next stop will be Dungeon 6. Dungeon 6 recovers one of those keys I mentioned during this run that unlocks the dungeon. Oh, you noticed probably that they didn't unlock Dungeon 4 because that's one of the keys they can actually skip in this game. You don't have to get the fourth dungeon key, which will recover getting Marine in a beach and wake up the walrus that is blocking the way to the desert, and the key will be there. These armors are actually very scary. They deal 2 hearts of damage. Gotta be careful when being near by them with a 1 heart. Fortunately though, for this game, if you happen to game over, you just spawn in that location where you died. Unlike in the original, where you spawn in the last location where you came out of from the loading zone, like a shop or dungeon. This is Armos Knight, small mini boss. That was a very nice fight. 2 good spin slashes to break the shield, then finishing off with a couple shots from a bow, and that's the mini boss. Then you get a face key and we can get to the Dungeon 6. Let's see what Miniretin is attempting the rocket launch.
Okay, so I like the timing, but I was like a little bit too much on the left when I pick up the bomb, so I bonk into the wall instead of getting on the wall. So we're just gonna retry it. Because the timings matter, but the position too. You need to be in a precise spot.
I forgot to mention the position has to be like directly in the middle, and by looking at the Link's head or the cap as a visual cue, if you go too far to the right, you don't get launched, but if you get too far to the left, you get launched but you bonk to the wall. Also, putting that bomb can actually give you a little bit of more time to set up yourself if you get the launch for the hookshot be higher than just a small launch. And there you go for Miniretin. It looks so nice when it's just whoop, you just launch off with a bomb. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's a really nice trick to see, of course. I mean, the tricks and glitch in this game are really visual and cool to see.
Yeah, all of them are. So Dungeon 6, one of my favorites actually, or actually my favorite dungeon to speedrun in this game was Dungeon 6. The atmosphere, the music, and it has some cool strats, and in my opinion one of the best boss fights in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
this dungeon item is gonna be the power upgrade for power bracelets, the level 2 power bracelet. In this game, also that they just give you the option to use the power bracelet anytime you want, so it's just automatically a passive upgrade. Meanwhile, in the original, you had to equip the item, the power bracelet, so you can actually pick up items. So it's very nice that you can just pick up anything without having to have the item in your X or Y buttons. Same with the boots too.
Well, while you're doing that, may I quickly remind everybody why we're here?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. We are ESA Winter 2021. Hope you're enjoying this fantastic Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening race. We are here to raise money for Alzheimerfonden, who are the Swedish national fundraising organisation focusing on Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. 100% of your donations goes towards Alzheimerfonden, so please get those donations in to us and benefit a fantastic cause. Thank you very much indeed.
We have a small coffee break here for Strackel, breaking these tiles. The reason that he has to do that is just to wait for this door to open. So then he can continue the run. There's a glitch, or should I say a strat coming up. Do you remember in Dungeon 3 they skipped the Dodong mini-bosses? Well, they're doing the same thing in a Dungeon 6 as well. There's a... not sure how new this new method is actually for this skip, but it's a lot better from what I remember running this game. The way I had to do this was something I never wanted to attempt in runs because how difficult it was. So first they have to wall ride on a wall, then get close enough so they can use the hook shot to cross the cup to the other side and get the boss key. But you can see how Strackel is a little bit struggling. How funny. Struggling with the wall riding, but when he gets to this one spot, he'll be able to land on this safe spot and being able to get the hook shot the block and use the ski to get the boss key.
Something
and the ski must be connected with the bot.
Something you maybe want to know is that this glitch, if you succeed first try, and it's really difficult, you will only win a few seconds. So we are going to do this both for sport and for you.
Yeah, the method I actually did of a long wall ride, and there was a chance to bonk as well with the hook shot. And with this method, from what I saw, it looks a lot easier and safer to at least to attempt.
Yeah, it's a really lot easier than what you would have attempt at ESA 2019,
last year,
I think. Yeah.
2020 winter actually, last year.
Oh yeah.
So exactly a year ago.
Yeah, the way that you was doing it is a lot harder than the new setup we got. But it's still a lot of risk to a little bit of time win.
Yeah, for sure. You know this Dracula picked up the potion. That's gonna be very necessary for one of the skips in the last dungeons he's gonna go for, as well as Miniretin actually. They both have to, I mean, it saves time. So in Dungeon 6 they were able to skip one small key, which is pretty great. Coming up the one of the best boss fights in the game, Facade. There are a couple of neat strats with Facade by using the bots to damage Facade with the bomb arrow. Because bombs are the only way to damage Facade. Though they can use a bomb arrow with the pots, like I said, to damage Facade, just based on where he spawns. But at the start they can use. Also the tiles on the floor are helpful for damaging Facade. And now it gets interesting. Because his location is sometimes random from what I believe, where he spawns. That was a perfect fight for Strackel. Very nice. In the original version, you would have to pick up those heart containers, but in this version you can decide to skip them or not. It's not necessary to have more than just 4 or 5 hearts, but it's safer to have 5 at least, because bombs do deal 2 hearts of damage. And if you have full 4 hearts, you take 2 hearts of damage from bomb twice, you're dead. It's pretty safe for the run to have 5 hearts towards the end. And later on, many enemies also deals 1 heart of damage. Let's see Miniretin, he's doing very well with the Polarites. That was very nicely done. I like that setup, it looks a lot easier.
Yeah, it is. It's still easy to get off of the wall, but it's really easier than the last step.
Right now there are 2 dungeons left for Strackel to go through, and dungeon 2 because he hasn't finished that. But for Miniretin he has 2 dungeons to beat after this dungeon. Right now Strackel reads some signs, so he knows what direction he has to go to. Not sure why he doesn't just enter the cave right away. Oh, because it's not there, that's why. So he has to read these signs first. So the secret door will open. So he gets to hear this single piece of music that is not released yet. And need to use 300 rupees to hear it. Heard it? For sure, because otherwise he can't beat the run. Just a couple more signs left. Then he can have a small coffee break while listening to the awesome piece for 300 rupees. Yeah, it's the port from Super Mario Bros. 2. We've been having some trouble in a dungeon 6, but he should be doing good.
I really love that song, but at the meantime I hate this song because when this song finish, the hard stuff is coming. Till the end of the run.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It's like now the run gets super real. It's not like it was already real, but it gets a lot harder. Everything is soft so far. Them doing was hard glitches and skips, but now it gets even harder, and it's not even a joke. These next glitches are just, let's just say that they're frame perfect. Oh, that was unfortunate for Miniretin missing a 1-shot there. He has to be very careful with the last bomb, because if he took that last hit there, he would have died at the same time with Strackel. With the Strackel, what? With the Vasar. Sorry. Getting mixed up over here.
And it's really important to not die here, because we have some resurrection that we need for a glitch later. So if I died here, I will have to reload the dungeon.
Another way will be getting the potion from the lady, but it needs rupees, 28 rupees or 42 rupees. And Strackel just unlocked the best companion in this game, Rooster. This Kuko is actually very, very helpful in this game, can you imagine? In the original, Rooster wasn't useful at all, it was skipped, but in this game, you can do some fancy stuff with him. One of them is getting to Dungeon 8 early. Just like that. Landing on a wall, and just jumping all the way to the Dungeon 8. Yeah, that's looks like a regular day at work. What is also very great about this mini boss is that you have to beat it. In the original, you can just enter the dungeon without killing it. The head wasn't solid, or it didn't have a hitbox in the original version. But in this version, it's completely blocked right now until you kill it. Pretty nice small mini boss before entering the last dungeon of the game. But in their case, it's the second last or third last dungeon. And this next skip, I will explain when it happens for Strackel. And I'll just explain it immediately after it happens, because it's pretty nonsense, okay? Fortunately, it auto-saves as soon as you enter the dungeon, so you can attempt as many times they want. What needs to happen there is that they have to take damage at the same time when Hinox grabs them. Oh. That is all I can say about that, because it makes no sense why it works and how it works. But I can explain shortly when it happens. Though, do you remember what happened in Dungeon 2 with Miniretin? That's the exact same thing. What happened in Dungeon 2.
But here there are no RNG.
Yeah, here is no RNG, no luck elements. You just have to do it yourself with a bomb boost.
Unfortunately, I hit twice, 1 frame early. That's a lot, 1 frame.
So shortly say that what happens, you take damage at the same time when the Hinox throws you, then based on this spot where you take damage and the angle Hinox throws you, it can put you anywhere in a dungeon, or it will put you out of bounds, then launch you back to the dungeon where the room where you spawned, where you were at that moment. Or it will just launch you to the end of a dungeon, which in this case is what the runners wants. And there's a very funny, a crap what happens when each time Hinox grabs you and Link is warping around. So it's not technically a wrong warp, but it's more of a... I can't even explain it. Why should I even bother? It just works, let's say it like that. So Miniretin got his Rooster, and he's doing all the fun stuff as soon as he enters Dungeon 8 as well. Oh, those boulders are very scary for Strackel. They deal 1 hearts of damage. Another thing he just did was go through the ladder. He can play out of bounds for a few nice seconds. So he can enter Dungeon 7 quite faster from this side of the mountain. How funny is that you go from the left side of the mountain to the right side of the mountain? Meanwhile, originally you were supposed to go from the right side dungeon, the 7th dungeon to the 8th dungeon, to Dungeon 8, in the left side.
Let us know when you've got time for a donation.
Yeah, there is a time now before some awesome stuff happens in Dungeon 7.
Brilliant. Okay, we have received $10 from Alistair without any comment, but thank you very much indeed for your donation. It really, really is appreciated. Thank you again.
that one glitch they used to get to the dungeon 8 is called ladder climb, air climb. And by cramming the rooster at the same time, around the end of the ladder edge, then climbing the ladder at a specific speed, they can just climb high up to the sky. But it's also based on the ladders, like how tall the ladder is, how much they can actually gain height with it. It's pretty neat. So getting to the dungeon 7, Strackel didn't have to go through a single cave, which is pretty amazing. The only cave they have to go through though is just getting the key to the dungeon 7. The dungeon 7's loading zone is not behind the tower at all. It's been checked. There's a way to get out of bounds here, but the loading zone is not behind tower, fortunately. So no key skip yet, probably. But dungeon 7 is the very hard, most likely the hardest trick for many runners still nowadays, because the current setup is still what I personally used in my runs. There are 3 different frames that works for getting this skip, and you need to use a potion. And between those 3 different frames, you can skip the dungeon either completely, or you have to do the boss fight. But getting any of those 3 frames actually is pretty good, regardless. But for the world record based runs and their personal best based runs, they probably want that one specific frame that skips the whole dungeon. But we'll see what happens here today on this race. This requires a very specific exposition coordinate to get it to work. Why? It's recurrent, let's say. It has to be done. So anyway, this is all part of the setup for Strackel.
I failed. I hit the bomb and the inox 1 frame too late. So I void in the ballroom. It was I need to hit it 1 frame early, but it's real difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult to hit that 1 frame when the game runs in 60 frames per second.
I don't know why, but my muscle memory is always getting me the 1 frame too late. I really hope one day I'm gonna have the same muscle memory, but for the good frame.
Yeah, that can happen. Sometimes days just are good for you, then sometimes you just can't hit that specific frame. And that's what will happen anytime they're doing their own personal best runs. You cannot try this without a potion.
Okay.
So you can, but
so now
for that is something you don't even want to try.
I'm a bit early, 2 frames early, or maybe 3. I don't remember. So I have a boss fight. I'm gonna defeat the boss. It's a bit longer, but it's faster than reloading and trying again. So because I have a lot of arrows, I'm maybe gonna kill him really fast. Let's see how it goes.
That was still nicely timed to get at least the second try with the boss fight.
Shit.
The arrows are recurrent for beating the game at the moment because both runners don't have a magic rod that is dungeon 8 item. The magic rod is a way to kill the final boss of the game if they don't have arrows, but now they don't have magic rod and they have to use arrows, and they're recurrent to have 10 arrows to beat the final boss of the game, the final phase of the game, final phase of the nightmare called Deathhold. This boss fight Strackel is doing right now, Eagle, it has some RNG, you know, sometimes not give you the right patterns you want, and you will probably want to also use arrows as less as possible, so you have some backups for the final boss. Let's see how Miniretin is doing. He's catching up though. Strackel, are you getting nervous?
Oh my god. Nice. You got the instrument room?
I think yes. From what I seen, is the setup was good. I'm instrument room here.
Nice.
Yeah, get it.
So now I'm 1 minute and 30 seconds late. If I don't miss the Jenny skip. Because if I miss the Jenny skip, I can be 3 minutes late. Let's see.
Well, that is a very close race after all. Miniretin has having the one dungeon left, meanwhile Strackel has 2 left. You never know, maybe there will be a very bad Arcaning face fight for the Nightmare one day.
Yeah, Haganim is a boss that you should not underestimate. He have killed many run. He need a lot of practice to get good on him. And he has some RNG too.
That is correct. Strackel just did the puzzle for this to get to the boss key. You might be wondering, how did he knew the code for this? And this is something that both runners has already set up for their file. It's called egg manipulation. Shortly said, when you open the Switch console for the first time from a power on, when you completely turn off power from the Switch, then you turn it on, it starts counting seconds for the RNG. And the runners wants to get this specific RNG, so they have memorized the pattern for the tiles and for the egg maze. I don't know how many egg maze patterns there were, but there's hundreds of them. Meanwhile, the original only had 4 or 5 of them. And there's always the default egg maze path for the original. But for the Switch version, it's set on the RNG, but you can manipulate that by turning off the console, then turning it on, and counting seconds, then putting on Link's Awakening. Then you would go and check which pattern you have gotten by playing the game. Which is interesting and also fascinating. Something like that was able to figure out by the community members who are familiar with this kind of stuff. If that wasn't a thing at all, there will be a possibility that runners will go for a super permutation, then have a chance to lose their run in a literally last 5 minutes of their run. And that would really suck for everyone, because you wouldn't know will you get that pattern or not ever by going through the super permutation. Which is covering like hundreds of steps. I can't remember, but it's ridiculous to even think about. Now both runners have done their dungeon 4. They have to be careful, and I'm sure they won't even go all the way down all of a sudden, because the ghost will appear behind them and they're not able to enter any dungeons if the ghost is up following them. They will have to give it away and put it in the grave eventually, so they can enter the dungeon. As long as they don't go any below from this location where they are currently, they're completely good and they can finish the game. So Miniretin is done with his dungeons, while Strackel still has dungeon 2. Miniretin playing all the 8 instruments to unlock the egg, beat the final boss of the game. Strackel, meanwhile, is gonna attempt Genie Skip. Let's see how
Yeah,
it goes.
attempt.
Attempt. Or should I have said will do?
I'm not sure about that.
Genie Skip requires like this entering the room directly in the middle to get the setup to work properly. I don't think it's necessary, but it will make this setup a lot easier, at least to attempt. So what's gonna happen is, after he goes back to the bottle, Strackel is trying to get out of the room, but let's see what happens. That was very nicely done. Good job. That's the Genie Skip.
Let me know when you've got a second for a donation.
Yes, just before Miniretin enters the final boss.
Yeah, just let me know.
Yeah, you can do it right now.
Okay,
Takes a few
fantastic.
seconds
Thank you, it's appreciated. We have $20 from Not Inky, who says, how do you say speedrunning in French?
Oh, the same. We just
Yeah,
say
it's-
speedrun.
It's the same.
Well, thank you
We
very
don't
much
use
indeed.
specific board.
That's fantastic. Now I know. Thank you very much for that generous donation.
Seems like speedrunning is universal with the same word for every language. Alright, the final boss time for Miniretin. Strackel just a little bit behind, about a minute away. Miniretin right now needs to use powder 3 times for this very first phase. This is mandatory, using the powder. In the original there was some ways to use sword and not use the powder at all. So this is the Arcanine phase for Miniretin, and they have to, both runners has to hope for good RNG with the Arcanine and hoping they don't give that one attack with the blue balls, because that loses time.
Okay, I got
haven't
good
been
RNG.
counting- I haven't been counting, was it 2 or 3? I think it was 2. The next phase for Nightmare is Moldorm. By doing the slashes just before it starts moving is a really good way to damage it. Next phase is a cannon phase. It can be damaged with the dashes or with the spin slashes. This phase is Landmola actually. You need to do it 4 times instead of once. In the original you have to do this once, but in this version you need to do it 4 times with the spin slashes. And this is the final phase, Deathle, where they have to use arrows right
Get
now
that triple.
to beat it. Ooh, the triple. Getting double shots
triple.
is guaranteed. Getting double shots for Deathle is guaranteed, but getting a triple shot is even better. Because you can skip a
Yeah, I found
cycle.
a setup
Two triple.
like 1 month ago for the triple. And
So the
now
time
it's
has
more
come
easy.
for Mini, as I will be up the stair.
You can tell say time.
And time.
Yeah, GG.
GG's
Thanks.
Mini. Struggle, just enter the boss fight.
Yeah.
That's how close the race was.
I really love this game, so I want to play more time, you know, so I can enjoy more.
It's a very awesome speedrun. There is a community Discord for this game, combined with the original Link's Awakening. And the story of this game pretty much is that Link is in an island that will disappear, unfortunately. But it's very, very sad face when it happens, and Link finds out the truth about it in a Dungeon 6. That's when you know about the truth of this island. and not before. So currently one extra cycle, 2 extras for Strackel. But one more hit left for Strackel. Hey, that was a good luck. Let's go. Next up, Modern Base. This can be done with just the slashes, but doing the spin slashes is even faster if you time them correctly. Having that damage boost at the end for Strackel is so scary. Get the faster cannon phase.
I hope I'm not gonna die.
Yeah, it's a one hit away and he will die. It's just a death left. Let's see what happens.
The time is coming for me. I didn't try a lot the triple arrow because I have only half a heart and it's risky. But it's okay.
That is respectable.
And time is coming. And time!
Congrats both of you for this awesome race. How do you feel about this race?
What was the time? The final time for both of us?
I do not know.
Actually, I feel pretty right about the race. The only big mistake I made in gameplay was the hook shot, where I missed it one time, so I have to reload it. It's like one min lose, but overall, I get all tricks pretty well. D8, Dungeon 7, Hinox Warp was first try. The flame skip with the Kuko was first try. I mean the run was really good, just getting bad RNG on the Dungeon 2 where it need me to get 5 throw to get it. But I mean that was just RNG, not misplayed by my side, but overall the run was really good for me.
Yeah, I was a bit
times.
unlucky on the like launch AK skip, where I got the piece of power and you need to hit once the like to change his direction, and because he has 2 earths with a double damage but I forget, I killed him. But even if I remember that, I needed to wait that the piece of power disappear, and it's a really long time. So that's I think it's the more tricky stuff that I did that I miss. And for Dungeon 7, I hit it 1 frame too late, so I lose 1 minute to reload, and after that I had the boss room, so I had to kill the boss. It's really long.
Thank you very much indeed for this an amazing race. Before you go, we do have another donation for you. We've received $10 from Mod366 again, who says, "Well done, Miniretin. I knew you could do it." So thank you very much indeed for that generous donation. Anything else to say, folks?
No, that's okay. Thank you for having us here.
If I can say something, today it's not just speedrunning for me. My grandparents had a really important role on my childhood, and my grandma got Alzheimer. So for me, it's really important to be here today and to give some shoutouts to this. So if everybody gives a small amount, together we can achieve great things. So that's all. Thanks everybody. I hope you enjoy the race, and see.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you very much indeed again. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, folks, stay with us. We're going to be having a quick intermission just now, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be straight back with Blazing Beaks by Lovebot. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.